Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And for those who are new, I'm Cindy. Today I wanted to talk about the difference between QHHT and BQH, just kind of going through what is the hypnosis all about? What is the difference between these two modalities? And talk about the session itself, like talk about the layout of the session. So if you were interested in having a past life regression, doing a quantum healing hypnosis session, just to know what that entails. Some of this information is already on my website, but sometimes it's just easier when you actually see someone explain it. And potentially, if you're interested in a session, like just to kind of get to know me and the way that I conduct sessions so that you feel comfortable, you can always reach out to me and we can have a phone conversation to see whether or not, this modality is for you. So just to start, what is the difference between QHHT and BQH? That's the first question that a lot of clients have. And really, to me, the effectiveness is the same for both, whether you want to do a QHHT session or a BQH. QHHT is more well known because it was created by the late Dolores Cannon. She passed away in 2014. She created this modality because there's only one of her. And from my understanding, she had a 3-year wait list and she couldn't help everybody. So what QHHT is, it's more than a past life regression. It is connecting to your higher self and also going back into a past life. And a past life doesn't have to be a linear past life. It can be really a parallel life. It can be an off-world alien life, so a galactic life. It could be your future life or your current life. It's whatever your higher self wants to show you in that moment, like whatever is happening in your life right now to help explain what's going on in your life. QHHT is done in person only. It can't be done remotely or online, and the minimum amount of time spent is at least 4 hours for a QHHT session. That is the guideline. So what is BQH? BQH is Beyond Quantum Healing. That was created by Candace Craw Goldman, and she studied under the late Dolores Cannon in 2008 and assisted her in her live coursework for QHHT. I think it was called something else back then, but it's the QHHT coursework for the beginners and advanced studies. And she was assisting Dolores until 2014 when Dolores passed away. So BQH can be done either in person, but also remotely and at a distance. And so you'll find a lot of practitioners who do BQH doing the online distance sessions, because there are clients out there who can't travel, especially in this current environment. There's the lockdowns are happening right now again. So it's very hard for people to travel, but even if you have a disability or, you have a medical issue and you just can't leave your home, you can also do the session here, like this, as a video conference. So in my experience, because I conduct QHHT and BQH sessions, like in general, I don't see any difference in terms of effectiveness and its power. They are both effective equally. I've also done sessions on QHHT practitioners and have done the BQH sessions, and they're actually surprised at how equally effective it is as a QHHT session. Because in our minds, we think, especially in QHHT, we're taught that it can only be done in person. And so we think, it can't be done remotely. However, just from my experience, and even having received an online hypnosis session, there is really no difference. It's just more, what are you comfortable with? There are many, many practitioners who do both modalities, QHHT and BQH. And I'll put in the link below the 2 different places that you can find practitioners, because if you are really looking for an in-person practitioner, then once everything with the lockdowns are lifted, you can go see somebody in your town locally if you'd like. So, don't feel like just because I'm putting this video together that to only come see me. I'm just kind of explaining the difference between the two, because that's a question that I get a lot. And also I want to kind of explain what the session looks like, because both are pretty much identical in the setup. Before I get into that, there are a couple other things that are different between the two modalities. Another difference between QHHT and BQH is who you connect to. So in QHHT, you are only connecting to your higher self to receive answers to the questions that you bring to the session. In BQH, it's much more flexible. It's a much more flexible modality for the practitioner in assisting the client, in assisting you. So in a BQH session, it may be that we talk to your higher self, but it can also be another aspect of yourself. It can be one of your guides. It can be an ascended master. It's whoever shows up. But if your preference is to connect to your higher self only, we can definitely do that. And I will guide the hypnosis so that you are connecting to your higher self to get the answers. Also, if you're familiar with my channel and my work, I also channel light language. So when I do a BQH session, if the higher self, the client, the guides are willing for me to channel light language and assist the client during a session, I will ask permission. And once I get the permission, I will channel light language. Sometimes it's more like if it's spontaneous, like I feel like I'm supposed to, I will just channel light language. So that's the flexibility with that. QHHT is very, it's much more structured and strict in the way that it is presented. So I probably wouldn't be doing light language. I actually haven't been doing any light language in a session, but I will ask a client if they are open to it, and just let them know that's not normally in a QHHT session. So you have the choice. So if you are expecting a strict QHHT session, I can definitely do that. I have no issues with that. But at this moment right now, with the lockdowns, again, I'm not conducting any in-person sessions at this time. If your practitioner has other healing modalities that they practice, other intuitive gifts that they can bring forward and enhance your session, then that would be something that could happen in your BQH session. Okay, now, in terms of the structure of a session itself. So both modalities are it's pretty much identical. There's 3 parts to it, okay? 3 parts. The first part, we do a interview. That's me getting to know you. You bring the questions to the session. I read the questions at the very end of the interview because I want to understand the context of your questions. And I get that when we have a free-flowing conversation, instead of me looking at your questions and then just having a preconceived idea of what you want to ask. What happens is that the interview process is free-flowing, and there might be things that you forgot to add to your question that was really important. And so it's a time of kind of an exploration, and I don't see your questions as static. It is a living document. It is a dynamic list. So if we come up with something new during the interview portion, then I'll go ahead and we'll add that to the list. Also, I want you to realize that the questions that you bring, I do not only ask those questions in your hypnosis. I wait to see what your higher self or your guides say to me. And if they say something really vague, then I will dig deeper. And depending on what they say, I will ask other questions, because it can be a link to something else that's happening in your life, right? So so I just want to say it's dynamic. It's not, the questions that you have, that's it, case closed. I'm only going to ask those questions and that's it. No, the reason why you're here is to get answers. And the interview is so important because that is how I know what's important for you. And so then when we do the hypnosis, I want to make sure that you get the answers that you really want, right? Because you're trying to shift your life, you're trying to get answers. So the second part of the session is doing the actual hypnosis itself. And the hypnosis is two parts. The first part is doing your past life regression. And again, as I said earlier, it's not just a past life, right? It's not a linear past life. You're a multidimensional being. So it can be a multitude of different kinds of lives that'll show up. And if you see something where it's dark, like you're in a place where it's just blackness, don't worry about it, because you might be a seed that is in the earth and it's dark, right? So we're not going to know what's happening until we advance into that particular life. So I'm just telling you, don't worry if you see darkness. It doesn't mean it's not working, the hypnosis. It is. It is. You just have to trust the process. Okay. And so then the second part of the hypnosis is us connecting. We're now connecting to your higher self. Actually, you're going to be connecting to your higher self, and you're going to be bringing through the information. I mean, really, and I kind of hesitate saying this because I don't want to scare you, but you are channeling your higher self. So in any of the QHHT sessions or BQH sessions, you are channeling your higher self or your guides. And that's just a fancy word of just connecting. Don't, I hope you don't freak out or like worry about channeling and going, I can't channel. I've never channeled in my life. I'm not psychic. Please don't worry. Just you're going to connect and it's going to happen. And I'm there to guide you. This is a cooperative session. It's a cooperative relationship, you and I. So I'm the practitioner and I try to open you up as much as possible for you to relax. And I guide you and I tell you some things, some tips, so that you are just trusting the process, right? Because you have to trust, you have to let go and surrender. If you are very controlling, where everything in your life is controlling, then hypnosis might not be the right thing for you right now, because you really need to let go and surrender. So if you can do actually a guided meditation and relax and see things or feel things or get information, that's awesome, because that means you can follow direction. That means you can calm your mind. You can kind of be in that neutrality spaces, which is where you want to be. The hypnosis portion is recorded. So you're going to get an audio and video recording. And the more you listen to it, the more you are going to get like nuggets of information. And the reason why I say that is because when you come out of hypnosis, it starts fading like a dream. And because there's going to be a lot of information that comes through from your higher self and your guides. So you want to make sure that you listen to it after the first 3 days after a session. You are basically very open to the higher realms of receiving information. So you want to be really mindful of your dream states, of the synchronicities that you see around you. Maybe it's the numbers or angel numbers that are around you that you see with the license plate, or you're watching a YouTube video and you see the timer down there. You see, like for me, I see threes all the time. 333. I mean, I see a lot of other numbers, but I think you know what I mean. So just be open to all of that. Okay, so after the hypnosis, I take you out of hypnosis. It's the last part, the third part, and that's just a review of what happened during the session. Just kind of a recap. My sessions typically take anywhere from 4.5 to 6 hours, and we just don't know how long it's going to take. So it's just, this is your session and getting the information that you want, right? And you're here for a purpose, for a reason. And my whole mission right now, and like my whole mission being here on earth, is to help you remember who you are, who you truly are. And You are a multi-dimensional divine being of light. And it's just remembering who you are truly in your heart. There have been so much programming, right, and limiting beliefs that we hold since birth. And also from it can be ancestral, generational stuff. And even like galactic stuff. It could be stuff from past lives. I'm really excited to be here to help anybody who is, who resonates with me in my work. You don't have to work with me per se. There are many, many other practitioners that you can choose from. And I do recommend that you take your time in choosing who does your hypnosis because, you want to feel comfortable with them. You want to resonate with them. So there is this one last part that I do want to share with you in this video, and it has to do with setting the expectation of the session itself. And because of my past experience in my very first QHHT session that was done to me, I wish that my practitioner had said some things to me because that would have helped me understand what a hypnosis session would be like. You have to remember that when we're doing a QHHT or a BQH session, you are connecting to the higher realms to get information. In QHHT, one of the things that we say to the client is we ask permission to connect to the client's higher self. So if I'm under hypnosis, the practitioner would be saying something like, do I have permission to connect to Cindy's higher self? So when that happened to me in my first QHHT session, because I'm an accountant by trade, by training, I was literally waiting for something to talk through me in saying yes, and nothing was happening because I'm analyzing, going, nothing's happening, nothing's happening. I don't hear anything, nothing's happening. So one of the things I tell you as a client is, and I'll say this now, and you'll hear it again if you sign up to do a session with me, is like, so when I get to that, I want you to say yes. And there are really like maybe 3 things that are really important that when you're doing the hypnosis, of just allowing. So the first thing is you want the first thing that comes to you, that comes to mind, to just come through. So whether it's something that you want to say, something that you're feeling physically, maybe it's an emotion, maybe you're hearing information, maybe you just have a knowing. You want it to be the first thing that comes to mind, right? So, but with this particular question, sometimes we're analyzing. So you just want to say yes, and then because sometimes you just have to say the first word, and then I'll ask you some follow-up questions, and those will be like the questions that you brought to the session. In that case, the first thing that comes to mind, okay? Also, second thing, and this is throughout the session, like first thing that comes to mind. Second thing is give me as much description as possible. I cannot see what's going on in your mind's eye. Only you can see what's in your mind's eye. So the more information you give to me, then it's easier for me to kind of imagine like where you are, and then my curiosity starts triggering. Okay, so what's over there? Who else is around you? How do you feel about this place? Just or even if you see darkness, right? Don't worry if you see darkness, like I said before, like it's not a problem. I know how to ask the questions, but you're just going to just feel into it and just allow. And really, I guess that's like really just 2 things. It's not 3 things. For some reason, I thought it'd be 3 things. So just allow whatever comes to mind. The first thing that comes to mind, whatever it is. And the second thing is as much information, as much detail as possible. Now, when you're in hypnosis, clients are not blacking out. That is not a thing that happens anymore. I mean, it can happen. It's very, very rare. So when Dolores Cannon was hypnotizing her clients, they were blacking out. And and we were told, it resonates with me, is that back then the energies were, it was much denser. And so therefore it was a different kind of experience. Now with all of the energies that are here bombarding Earth, Gaia, humans, all beings, seen, unseen, there's a higher vibrational energy that we're matching to. So we're actually remembering our sessions. You're not going to black out. Okay, I'm not going to say you're not going to black out, but it's very highly unlikely you're going to black out. You're going to remember it, but it will start fading as you come out of hypnosis, and then you're talking in your talking state. It will start fading. It's very normal for you to have your ego come through and start questioning everything. Your ego is really resistant in you having a session because the ego is there to play a role of duality. You're going to hear you're going to hear your ego say, and a lot of chatter, like, it's not working, I'm making it up, this isn't real. I mean, that'll happen. That's very natural. So what I want you to do, and I say this to my clients, so when you're in a hypnosis session, just know that you're going to want to recognize that your ego is saying that, and you're going to ask your ego to move to the side and shh, like silence. Like, this is my session and you have to be quiet. Okay. So you're going to do that and then come back into, into yourself, refocus. And if you have to take a deep breath, go ahead and take a deep breath and center yourself. Okay. So just know that that is a normal thing that happens during a session, but I guarantee you that you are under hypnosis and you are getting the information. It is just, as I do this work, I know how it is. You are under hypnosis because how did you get that information? Where is it coming from? How are you getting so much detail? Like, where is it coming from, right? And it's because you're tapping into your intuitive ability. You're tapping into the right side of your brain. We don't want to be tapping into the left side, and that's the ego, the analysis part that's happening. We want to be focused on the right side of the brain, the right side. That's like the intuitive side. That's the creative side. That's where we want to be. So I hope this is helpful in helping you understand a little bit more about QHHT and BQH and what the difference is. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can email me at hello@balancedalchemy.com. And I wish you many blessings.